I'm kind of late to the game on this one, guys. Probably around 6-7 months or so, but TLDR, it's just so good. It would be a crime not to talk about these, especially once I found out about them. The Audio-Technica ATH-M50XBT2. What a name there, but it's the wireless version of the highly respected fan favorite M50X closed-back dynamic headphone. Casual audiophiles love them for their accessible sound and robust bass, so did DJs. So now that the Japanese company right here has added Bluetooth to the mix, I'm sure you want to know what has changed, what hasn't, and why I think this is one of the most sonically exciting headphones I've tested in quite a while. So if you're interested to find out more, let's do this after these messages. The Audio-Technica M50X runs $150 retail, and I've seen this thing go on sale frequently. I'll link it down below in case you're interested in getting one, and I'd like to know how much you got yours for. This has Bluetooth 5.0, that's like the bare minimum nowadays. It has SBC AAC support, but no aptX. But it does have LDAC, so that's good news for us high-res listeners. And I'll talk more about sound quality in a second. 45mm drivers in here doing all the grunt work. Frequency response is 15 Hz all the way up to 28 kHz. Now, battery life is potent. I managed like 55 hours of listening time at 65% volume with, get this, LDAC on. Usually LDAC is a battery sapper, but it managed 55 hours. What sort of voodoo magic is Audio-Technica pulling here? But that's really awesome. It also has the Audio-Technica Connect app where you can customize things, and I'll show you that in a second as well as Google Fast Pair on board here. The weight is 270 grams, or if you add the accessories as well, that comes to around 320 grams. And speaking of the accessories, let me show you this real quick. The sack is pleather and has this nice Audio-Technica embossing, and it's drawstring, and it's lined on the inside, and it's quite sizable. Once you fold up the headphones, you can pop that in and cinch it tight, as well as dump some of the accessories in. It comes with this TRS cable. That means there's no mic on board. It's decently length, and also a short, really short 30 centimeter, that's like not even a foot, USB-A to USB-C charging cable. Starting from the top of the headphone, you have this huge Audio-Technica logo stretching from end to end. It's audacious looking, I like it, but some of you may not like this kind of flashiness when you're wearing this out in public, so bear that in mind. But I think where we can agree on is how plush and soft the headband is. This thing, check that out. It stretches almost from the top of one ear to the other, so there's a lot of padding for your whole head. And most manufacturers make it look like it's soft at the top as well, with the pleather covering, usually some kind of stiffener plate. There is a stiffener plate, but it's also, there is some give towards the top as well. Check that out. It's really nice and pliable. Where it does kind of fall apart for me is as you move downwards, it's all plasticky, and it's quite chintzy and hollow. Yeah, it scratches from time to time. It's not the worst plastics I've seen, but yeah, these, I wish it had more weight to it and better plastics. But where it does gain back ground is the amount of articulation and adjustment for your head and ear positioning. If you like to wear this on your neck, X and Y axes, 10D10s by the way on the slider, metal band on the outside, and plastic on the inside. Is pretty stiff as well, so I don't see this breaking anytime soon. 360 articulation for this, and you know, you can do all sorts of stuff. Fold this small. This is one of the selling points of this headphone as well. The other way to stow it, let me see if I can show you how it's done. The other way they say is to fold it like this, and then you pop it in the sack. And in case you're wondering, guys, the ear pads are replaceable. If these ever wear out, or if you want to try different materials, you just have to pop it off the rails and pop it back on. It's really an easy DIY project. And looking here too, once you have it off, you can see that I'm not sure if it shows up in the camera, but you can see that the driver itself is angled inwards towards your ear canal rather than just the side of your head. That's a nice little touch right there. These things are also soft. The padding is quite generous, although the bounce back is kind of quick, but don't let that fool you. These things are really comfortable, and the opening is oval, so it'll fit your earlobe itself. And in terms of heat buildup, I didn't find this an issue. Granted, this is tested in the dead of winter, but my house is kind of warm, and even when I'm wearing this all night long, like right now I'm doing baby duty, when I wear this all night long, there's no pressure or heat buildup that I can find at all, so that's really nice. And speaking of which too, the passive seal on these are really awesome. I don't find that I need or miss noise cancelling most of the time, because these seal out sound really well. Part of the reason too is there's no like escape ports or venting ports for bass or anything, so it's a all the sound is self-contained in here. Basically, all the controls like the volume and power buttons, and also the different ports like the USB-C 3.5mm port, and also the LED status light, and the two mics on board are all on the left ear cup. The right side is as clean as a whistle. I do wish there was wear detection sensors on board for 150 bucks. Come on, Audio-Technica. I'd like to see this in the next gen. Another couple of things I want to mention here. Yeah, you can see all the metal embellishments here. Pretty nice. This right here is a pinch point. This articulation joint, I've seen people mention this before. If you have your skin or a fold of skin accidentally caught in this, and I've experienced this a couple of times myself, it will hurt. Another thing here too, if you see this little nub, it's not on the right side, and I've mentioned this about Japanese manufacturers like Sony and Panasonic. They tend to do this. It's like some kind of visual, or tactile left side indicator for, if you're feeling for this in the dark, or if you're visually impaired. When you pick this up, you know this is the left side. Even though in this case, I just use the buttons to, tell me where the left side actually is. In the past couple of weeks, we finally got some good snow here in Maine, because winter this year has kind of sucked. Everyone else, like Dallas, has been getting snow, for crying out loud. But check this out. It's frozen over on the Penobscot River. It's beautiful out, and I'm in ankle deep in snow, and it's gonna freeze tomorrow. I heard it's gonna be -50 with wind chill. Oh my goodness. But anyways, we're doing the Bluetooth range test. I have a song by Clay with The Sun Goes Down on my Pixel 7 Pro at the end of my deck, and we're listening through, of course, to the M50XBT2. I'm gonna try walking around this huge pile of snow that we've shoveled here. And the reason for this test is to just play around. It's not scientific in any way, but I want to show you in real life how these things handle obstacles between the walls and such like that before they cut out. So where I'm standing and the phone over there is around 25 feet. I'm going to walk around here so I don't slip on the ice. While it'll be funny to slip in front of camera, I don't want to die. Not today anyway. So this thing, we should be in a cutout zone by now, but these headphones are holding on to the signal. I have not heard any kind of signal discrepancies. Oh, there you go. That's the first little cutout. My guess, this thing can go all the way to the street before we hear a disconnect tone. Let's see. It's all icy down here too. Check this out. It's a beautiful thing. We're gonna be here in a second to do the microphone test. I haven't gotten a tone yet, but I'm not going to risk going down that driveway because it's all ice. But these things are strong, and you can see, guys, how these things fit on my ears or over my head. They're really nice. They're not the most compact, obviously. It still has that old school design. The newer designs have that, they kind of taper the, or have an inset kind of band to hug your skull a little bit more, but these kind of like rocking the old school DJ monitor kind of look, and I really like it. It's industrial and modern at the same time. They did some nips and tucks to from the previous gen. I'm not gonna, well, let's try this anyway. These are probably not gonna stay well on my head because I have my beanie on, but I can tell you what, guys, these clamp on really well. I'm not gonna go down there either because I can't find the steps. But I'm gonna do this little run, and it's stable. It does shift a bit, but again, it's only because of the beanie. If you have to chase after your kid or something, or your dog wearing this on a walk or something, you'll be totally fine. They won't come right off. So let's head down to the main road again and test the mics on these. I can tell you for sure that the mics on these things, I think there's like 2 or 3 of them, work really well in isolation. Here comes the car, by the way, so you can hear how it sounds with noise suppression on. In isolation, in a quiet room, you're getting a Zoom call. They sound fantastic. The intonation, the signal strength, there's no popping or clicking of the voice. Here comes another car. How does that sound? Yeah, when the algorithm kicks in, though, the noise suppression, it does falter to the side of, not class leading by any means, but pretty much par for the course for most headphones of this caliber. Here comes a nice large truck, accelerating up the hill. You can hear how it handles low as well as mid frequencies. How does that sound? Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3. It sounds like someone hacking up a loogie, right? Yeah, you know what I'm saying. But yeah, again, in quiet environments, it's amazing. Even if you have to take a phone call, if you're walking on the sidewalk like this, it's perfectly fine. My voice comes out nice and clear to the listeners. Passive isolation is amazing as well.
But if you want something similar to pass-through mode, even though it's not, there's side tone. When you do get a phone call, you can activate side tone. There's medium and high modes. Not much difference between the two, but at least it's there so you can be aware of your surroundings. And I like that because it's nice to be safe when you're getting a phone call and you're busy talking and you know if there's traffic all around you or something. You know, if somebody is about to hit you or a dog comes chasing after you from behind. Yeah.
If a lot of you, as well as many DJs out there, have owned and more importantly kept the older wired M50X, you know where I'm going with this. It might have been mostly because of the rich low-end punch on that older model. With the M50XBT2, however, Audio-Technica has gone almost neutral on us. That means now it's balanced with impressively very little distortion, even at the limit. And it's not so much that the Japanese company, in this case, retuned this new model from scratch. It's more like they raised the bass floor just a tad while keeping the same mids and highs that made the regular M50X so good. Even if you don't leverage LDAC, although I really think you should if you can get your hands on good files, this thing is pretty darn tight. Or if you just prefer to leave the EQ alone, audio just flows through your headspace so darn good. Vocals are clear, instruments or sound effects if you're watching movies or playing games, clean and precise. I sampled both versions of Levitating, the OG Dua Lipa piece as well as the acoustic version by Matt Johnson. And you know what? The M50XBT2's ability to adapt extraordinarily well to nearly every bit of those songs, as well as other genres that I tested it with, basically cements the M50's almost halo status even further. Another thing I want to add, and I'm quite surprised by this guys, is that this headphone sounds just as good via Bluetooth as it is wired. That's good news for a lot of us, especially if you run out of battery, you're not sacrificing sound quality, especially if you have a good driver or amplifier. That's not something you can say for headphones or top-end headphones that cost twice as much or even more. So in this case, kudos, Audio-Technica. Battery life on this thing is simply phenomenal, guys. Usually, factory estimates are somewhat inflated, right? Tested not in very real-world scenarios. But granted, I'll say this. Battery tech in of itself has advanced quite a bit in the last 2 to 3 years. During my time of doing YouTube videos and all that, I've noticed that the average real-world endurance tends to be only around 5 to 8% off OEM figures on average. So to have a headphone like this come through our test bench and go 5 hours more than advertised is pretty darn fantastic and says a lot about this. And yes, I know there are cans out there like the Sennheiser Momentum 4 that offers crazy listening times like, 60 hours with ANC on? That's crazy. But either way, from my experience, anything above 40 hours real world can easily last you a full week of casual listening. And this thing can definitely do that. Trying to cram as much as possible into your day pack, but then thinking twice about bringing your non-folding headphone with its space-wasting case to protect it, like, you know, on AirPod Maxes or XM4s or Bose 700s, well, you wouldn't have to worry too much with these. With the portability and articulation on the M50X, you just have to roll it up like this in the ball, stick it in the carry sack that it came with, and then you're pretty much good to go. So yes, there is an app, and it's actually pretty powerful and customizable, especially from an audio perspective. There's nothing you can do to remap the physical controls itself on a headphone, so most of it is on the audio side. I have it right now set to SBC/AAC. You can switch it to LDAC or auto if you like, but the reason why I have this set right now, I just wanted to show you this, is the low latency mode. LDAC doesn't support low latency, so there's a lot of lag when you're watching videos, not on the mobile phone, but especially on laptops, PCs, Chromebooks and such, there's a significant lag, so probably like half a second or so. So I had to switch to AAC and SBC and turn on low latency to get rid of that. Another kind of sort of reason why I left this at SBC/AAC is to demo to you the EQ. Now, you can also use the EQ in LDAC mode, but it does give you one restriction. It maxes the sampling rate to 48 kilohertz, which when you think about it, guys, that kind of nullifies the whole benefit of LDAC, right? But that's something to know of, and yeah, that's kind of interesting. I've never seen that before. But anyways, in the EQ itself, there is 5 band, there are 5 presets or 4 presets, and you can set up your own as well. And this is the parametric EQ, really nice stuff. You can adjust the frequency and gain down below as well, reset it. And if you want to, you can switch it to the graphic EQ if you like as well to do the same thing. Really nice and quite flexible. For those of you who are saying, oh, I wish there was more control for the LDAC or higher sampling rate,
I personally haven't had the urge to tweak it, which is really nice, and that shows how well tuned this thing is, at least to my ears. Back to the home screen, if you swipe left, you can access more customizations, and right here are some of the highlights. Left-right balance. This is awesome. Say if your hearing is kind of stronger on one side or the other, or if your headphone is tuned a little odd, you want it louder on the left or right, you can do that too. The other thing is volume adjustment level. You can set it to really large 16 steps or down to 64, so if you go up and down on the volume, it's more granular, so that's really awesome and fantastic for those of you who want a more fine-tuned control over your listening experience. Alright, now let's hit up the negatives. Let me roll up my sleeves here because we're meaning business. This is all serious stuff. I'll tell you what, this thing is plasticky, especially as your eyes move from the headband. It looks nice at the top, but as your hands or eyes scan downwards, yeah, it goes south pretty fast. The metal-like garnishments can't take away from how hollow the thermoplastic assemblies are. You can hear that. The assembly gaps, whether they're intentional or not, are rather tosh as well. It's one of those things where the manufacturer had to dance, I think, the fine balance of lightness, cost, and perception of quality. So in my mind, it swayed a little bit too far towards feeling more like a $100 product, especially around the primary touch points. I guess I'm used to all the accessibility functions and abilities of my Pixel smartphone that I'm still hoping to see some kind of concession by headphone, earbuds, or audio makers in general for users with disabilities. Button controls are the best, I'll tell you what, but should be quick and easily recognizable by touch alone. Moreover, in the app, I would like to see users being able to swap left and right ear cups so that the controls can be used by their preferred hand. The BT2 doesn't have either of these. I mean, it has buttons, but they're hard to commit to corporeal memory. I've struggled with this for the longest time. But that being said, this kind of setup is more of the norm among headphones rather than the exception. But nonetheless, I would like to see brands begin to consider this area a little bit more. Buy this. If you don't need noise cancellation, just want a good sounding headphone, the wonkily named ATH M50XBT2 by Audio-Technica is bloody fantastic. It's the best sounding wired and unwired headphone for the price, I'll tell you what, even if the aesthetics and materials could use a little bit of an improvement, maybe the next gen. Comfort, by the way, is top notch. I've seen some reviewers and owners out there complain about the headband having a clamping force that is too strong, but I didn't find that an issue during my whole month or so of using this pretty much every day, especially once you have the slider adjustment dialed in. So with all that said, I'm giving the ATH M50XBT2 a GearUP score of 8.4 out of 10. And hold on a second, let me move this aside. And this is how I broke it down to get the final score. If you have any questions about how I got there, feel free to comment down below. Well, that's all I got today, guys. My name is Aaron for GearUP, and thank you so much for being here. The fact that you're watching this very second means a lot to me, so kudos to you guys. You could have been doing something else, but the fact that you're here, it's awesome. If you'd like to see more videos like this, show your support. You know what to do. You've been on YouTube long enough. I'm not gonna handhold you here. I do more than just headphones and earbuds, by the way. Even though this is our bread and butter, check out my playlist. There's more there about all kinds of tech, and let me know what you think about them. Remember to thumbs up if you like this video, comment nicely down below, and thumbs down. I haven't done this in a while. Thumbs down. Thumbs down to ChatGPT, the popular chat bot right now that's all fire. It's supposedly all-knowing, right? So I asked it this question. Tell me about GearUP with Aaron. I've been around since 2018, so I thought, hey, you'll be in the database. You should be part of that data set, right? That it was trained about. And this is the answer it gave me. I asked it like 3 times and it kept saying, I don't know who this Aaron is. Eventually, it did kind of say that, you know, Aaron could be possibly a tech reviewer who does unboxings review. That's not bad, but it was just going around robin and saying, I don't know. And it hurt my feelings. So anyways, there you have it. Thank you for watching again. Remember to do something loving and kind for somebody in this world, guys, because guess what? The world needs it more than ever. Like this one, because my feelings are hurt right now by ChatGPT. And it starts with you. I love you all very much. Peace out and God bless.